on Michael Talbot. I like him as a singer. And it's true, whether you call it the Christ energy or the light or love or mind or key or the universal life force, consciousness, whatever you choose to call that energy. My son calls that Allness sometimes. Whatever that energy of the divine universe is all about, the truth of the matter is it's expressing through each and every one of us. We are the eyes, the hands, and the feet, and the body and the energy of God. That's our humanity. We express our humanity and remember that, or embrace our humanity and remember that we are to express divinity through that, through this human walk in the world. Because we've all got a human assignment right now, don't we? Yeah, that's what we're here to do. So we're going to be talking about that today. We're talking about this, the way that the universe gives back to us, this divine compensation. For me, it's opening up to the miracles to let life show me what it has to show me, to bring to me all that needs to be brought to me in a perfect way at a perfect time, to make this human journey my friend, so that I can actually love the life I'm living and have a sense of well-being within that. This full expression of my humanity. That's what I'm here for. That's what I hope you're here for. This deep appreciation for life itself. And so we're going to talk about that this entire month. And as usual, I've had quite a week. Usually when I get on this platform, I'm going, yeah, life is just real interesting. Well, today it's been more interesting than normal. And so actually, when I started thinking about this, about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon when I finally got home, I'd been gone for 4 days, which is unusual because I'm a homebody, hardly ever go anywhere. Isn't that the truth?
That's true.
Yeah, and it was not a vacation. When I got home, I thought, oh, how on earth am I going to get up and talk about sacred calling? You know what? I'm too tired. I don't have any time for that. I can't possibly even think about this topic of sacred calling, much less get up on the platform and try to be inspirational and listen for the Word of God to come pouring through me. I don't think I can do that. And so, for the first time in almost 11 years, I went to bed last night, early this morning, without preparing to talk. And I thought, boy, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be very iffy if I even have a talk. I wasn't sure. And so way out of my comfort zone. So this morning when I woke up, I finally remembered the truth. And for me, what I remembered was that sacred calling is all about the allness of the divine expressing through me, through you, through all of us in this present moment of time, no matter what we're doing. And I got started from there. So I'm not real sure how this day is going to turn out as far as my part of the talk, but just pray for me and with me. So I want you to take a look at this young man on this screen up here. I've spent some time with this fellow this past couple of days. Not going to name him by name because that probably isn't a real smart thing to do. But I want to tell you that he is a Naval Special Forces guy. He is part of Blackwater. He is a fellow that comes and goes out of Afghanistan. He has been protection for people like John McCain, Hillary Clinton, Lindsey Graham. That's what he does. He's guarding the coast from Somali pirates. That's his job. That's what he does. He's a tough guy. Carries a gun. Knows all about weapons, which is really interesting because I got to know him and he said, I can't believe I'm in this line of work. And remember, we're talking about sacred calling because my mom had never let me have a gun. Sound familiar, David? Mom had never let me have a gun. Now, I'm not a proponent of guns, but I sort of learned to respect that after the last few days that I've spent with this experience. His sacred calling is protecting people. His sacred calling is protecting people. Now, I want you to look at that picture. He's in Afghanistan right now in very harsh conditions, and look what's happening. He's got that child. David, go to the next picture for me. And there he is again, his sacred calling. Yes, he's protecting people. Yes, he's gun-toting tough guy, but guess what? When he's not doing that, this is also his sacred calling, to be this gentle presence. To step forward into his holy assignment, whatever that is, make everything a holy encounter. This is who he is. He's got his own 2 little boys, and he stepped away from the coast of Somalia so he could come home and be with his own children, 8 and 5, so that he could be present for them. So he had to get a new job. So see his sacred calling, protecting people. Protecting people. He's not in Afghanistan right now, but you know what he does? He does executive protection. He carries a gun and he protects people. And that's how I met him. That's been my 4 days. He's not protecting me, but he's protecting someone that I love deeply. And I've been helping get that ranged and get that in place. He watches over my sister 24/7. And he's got a gun. And this is who he is. And this is what I thought was really interesting. He's very Irish, and one of the gentlemen that is protecting her is very fundamental Christian. And that's what he talks about a lot, which was interesting. Because she's not that, and neither am I. And we respect that. Do you hear me? We respect that. That's okay. But this guy's not that. He's not religious at all. And guess what? Guess where he's serving? Right in the middle of all these religious wars. He sees what those kinds of fundamental ideas do and how they outpicture. So he says, I'm not religious. Although he's very, very Irish, and his name is very, very Irish, and he's got a huge Celtic cross on that big muscly arm of his. So he identifies with spirituality, but he has no idea that he does. Are you getting what I'm saying? He knows he's got a sacred calling, but would he say he does? Oh no, don't go there with him. But this is who he really is. This big, beefy, gun-toting dude that protects people. That's his job, you see. In every way. He protects their hearts, and he protects them. He's living what the Jewish tradition calls, I don't know how to say it exactly, but I think it's called Mussar, M-U-S-S-A-R, this Jewish spiritual practice that says our job is to fulfill our sacred calling, to fulfill our higher potential, whatever that is, our highest potential, and then be of service to make the world a better place. That's a spiritual practice in the Jewish tradition. So, some of you may know all of the people in our community very well, and some of you have said to me, you know, I'm so old, I'm so tired, I don't think I have a purpose anymore. Anybody don't have a sacred calling anymore? I'm done. Anybody relate to that? Well, I got news for you. Here's a news flash, if you're one who has said that to me in the past. You have a sacred calling, whether you have a job or not. Whether you can do what you used to do or not. You have a sacred calling to be an expression of this everyday holiness right on the spot where you are. Now, you may not have a job anymore. You may be a person who is unemployed even and looking for a job, but that does not mean that you do not have a holy assignment and a sacred calling. We all do. And sometimes we just don't recognize it. We get real distracted, like I was real distracted this morning at 2:30 when I couldn't do my talk. Because lots of times when I'm doing what I do in the world, I go, yes, this is my sacred calling. Anybody relate to that? This is what I'm called to do. This is what I'm meant to do. This is why I was put on earth. When Robert makes music, where's Robert? Well, you're Robert. When Robert makes music, that's a sacred calling to create music. And he says, oh yeah, I'm here to create music. I'm here to create art. I'm here to create beauty. I'm here to be the best mother that I can be. I'm here to cook a beautiful soup. I'm here to be a great teacher. I'm here to heal people. Yes, this is what I meant to be and what I meant to do, how I meant to be in the world. And then there are moments when we go, I'm not real sure. Yes? And those are the moments we're talking about today. Because we're always in process with our sacred calling. We're always in process with this divine energy that is moving in us and through us in the world. And how it outpictures is going to outpicture in the moment. maybe blowing bubbles for children in a very difficult space. Because our sacred calling comes from the very deepest aspect of who we are. It is not specific. It's very big, very general, and it's not, you can't put your finger on it. Does that make sense? Because your sacred calling is what the universe has created for you to do and to be in your unique way. Just you. Just you. Nobody can do your sacred calling the way you can do your sacred calling. They can do something similar. It can look very much alike. But guess what? Your participation, your contribution to this incredible field of energy that we all call this whatever, the universe, is unique. And it shows up in a unique way. Deepak Chopra. When I'm gone, I want the universe to say, and I want my humanity to say, something's missing. Something's missing. It's not the same. Does that make sense? Yes. And so we owe it to one another. We owe it to the universe to fully express our own sacred calling through our human walk in the world. Whatever that is. Whatever that is. And by the way, there is no lesser or greater sacred calling. Now, maybe some of you have been through a tradition where it looks like the person on the platform has a greater sacred special calling. Yes, is that the truth? But not true, not true. Everybody has an equal calling. It's all equal. You know why? Because we're all an equal expression of the activity of God. Nobody gets more expression of that, and nobody gets less, period. It's all equal. We're all the same. Now, the way it shows up and how skillful it is in the moment, oh yeah, that varies. Sometimes I have some pretty unskillful moments. Do you? Have you had those? But at the core, at the very essence of who we are, we all got the same amount. Eric Butterworth, he says, we've all been born with these infinite possibilities within us. They're just waiting to be expressed in the world. And so we have to trust that the perfect plan of the universe is ready to unfold through us for the highest good of everybody. So think about what you have been aware of as a sacred calling. Is it holding people in loving compassion? Is it praying for your friends? Is it being a good friend? Is it being present with somebody who's not feeling well? Is it singing your heart to the world? What is your calling? Think about that. Because your sacred calling, whatever it is, comes forth and it's intended to express all the time. All the time, no matter what you're doing. And what that means is you are called to be that energy of the divine no matter what. No matter what. And boy, do we ever forget. Especially when we're angry, when we're in fear, when we're sensing lack around us, and it's chaotic, and we're tired, we forget, you see, to open ourselves to this higher something. When I know who I am, and this morning I actually brought that box of Kleenex because I thought I might cry. When we know who we are, we express the truest, most brilliant, most loving self that we are. The most brilliant, the truest, and most loving being that we are, that when we know who we are. When we're forgetting who we are, that's where we get unskillful. That's where we show up with all of those other ways of being. And you know what I know, and I'm thinking that my friend here is one of those people. We never know where or what will call us to express our highest, holiest calling. We never know when we're going to be called upon, so what does that tell us? We better be ready all the time. We better be connected. We better be remembering who we are so that when we encounter whatever it is we encounter, we can express through that. And this is what I know. Things look icky sometimes. I wasn't too sure what was going to happen when I left Orange County last week. Went to another city. And what I found out is everything is an invitation to say yes to the universe. Okay, now what? All right, how can I be myself, my divine self in this experience? What skill set are you calling forth here? What are you calling me to do in this experience? How can I be a beneficial presence? How can I be those hands and feet of the divine in a body in this expression? So that I can turn life circumstances into an opportunity to live my sacred calling. Now, I don't go around looking for places to live my sacred calling, let me tell you. I don't go searching for that. But if I'm not aware that everything that I am encountering is an opportunity, then I'm missing it. It's like being that, how an oyster takes all the sand, the grit of life, rubs on you a little bit, and after you're done for a while, when you know that there's a higher calling here, then you've got the pearl. You've got the beauty of life. You've got the outcome of being able to love the life you're living. This priceless, beautiful life, where we recognize that we have the capacity to not only give love, but we can be love in these situations. So here's your invitation. Remember what Marianne Williamson said. We all have a sacred calling simply because we are alive. We are part of the energy of the divine. We have that spark of God within us, or whatever you choose to call that energy, and we're here on earth with a divine purpose to rise to the level of our highest creative possibility, however that looks for you. Being a good friend, listening, healing, singing, painting, creating beauty. However that looks for you. Tending to someone else. Being a compassionate partner. Whatever that looks like. Expressing all of who you are through that thing in every way to make the universe a more beautiful place. You do have an essential function in this universe. Wouldn't be the same without you. Nobody can do the job of being you as good as you can. Thank you for listening.